What's going on, coaches? Coach Correa. We're gonna talk about the Sam and the Will play today in the stack defense, which I call them a Sam and the Will. Some people call them DN, Spurs, Dogs, whatever you want to call them. This is where the defense gets interesting because the box six that we talked about in the prior videos, you'll see why it's imperative those guys' coordinated movements and how they relate to how these edge players play. Now, our Sam and the Will, we call him a Sam and the Will, strong, will, weak, strong, Sam or Will, whatever you want to call them. They're force-contained players. They're going to play the football, hard joint, and try to splatter blockers and spill the football. We're not frame players. We're not going to play up the field and box you in. This ain't that type of 5-3. Their only pass responsibility will be that they will cover the flats. When we're trying to look for a Sam and a Will, they have to be bigger players, but not big in the sense of big and wide, like how at the higher levels of football they may have to be. They have to be bigger, rangier type long arms, because I feel that, you know, everything they do, they're playing with their hands, and it's good to get separation on their key and be able to play the football, whether they need to shed the block, come up the field, make a play, whether they got to take on a block or they got to frame the ball back inside. I like them to be a little taller and rangier and be a bit more athletic. They have to be physical against the run. They have to be hard to block when they're blitzing. And they have to be athletic enough to cover running backs coming out in the flats, because that is their only pass responsibility as far as what they're going to do when we're in coverage. We play a lot of cover 3 and cover 1 in any defense I play. So they have to be athletic enough to cover either back in the flat, depending on the call, or play the flat in zone coverage. So we don't ask them to do things they can't do. Those are things you should be able to teach, especially two of your more athletic players in the Sam and the Will. We teach them to attack the V of the neck of their key. So if you're the Sam against the tight end, you're going to play outside shade, and you're going to play right through his neck. If you're the Will and we don't have a tight end present and we're playing against the tackle, his key will be the hip of that tackle for a variety of reasons. We obviously don't have a number 2 threat here, so he could play a little bit off the ball and get a clean read. So when he has to shimmy and feather and play against counter, cut, boot, reverse, whatever you want to call it, he gets a cleaner picture to read. So depending on the formation, will depend on the alignment of this Will and the Sam in some cases. They have to lead with their hands and hips. They want to get their hands on their guy and make sure they clear their hips to attacking the football, especially when they're in a force or contained predicament. They will squeeze down blocks and base blocks, meaning they get a down block, they're going to get their hand on them, squeeze it down, look for something coming your way. If they get a base block and flows coming inside, they got to play through the head of the base block. This Sam has to be able to play through his head and try to squeeze the hole so we can try to spill the football. Let's try to cancel all the gaps and make the football start moving laterally. It's still the same concept as the stack backers. When we start giving them their keys and teaching them their reactions and practicing, you know, putting in our specific practice techniques, we boil it down to 3 things either the tight end or this backside tackle can do. They can step down, they can try to base you out, they can try to reach you. Therefore, anytime we get into our key and read drills, we try to give them the reactions they're looking for to get them good at focusing on what these 3 things are, playing the key through to the football. So we try to narrow it down to the 3 most common things they will see, just like we did with the other drills. You know, if he steps at you or tries to reach you, if he's reaching you and getting wide, you got to be able to keep your hands on him and watch the football coming outside. If football starts coming outside, you got to get rid of him, keeping your outside arm free playing up the field. So it's imperative they understand they're keeping, even though we're trying to get hands on people, they're keeping their outside arm free. So if the guy's trying to reach us, we can hold him, pull, and get underneath, either rip underneath or tug them and get up the field. So we got to play hard with the inside hand, trying to keep outside arm free. Now, when they get reactionary things, such as, because I always try to give you things that they will see and how they differ. Let me get my rag. This is a little difficult to erase. He's going to attack the V of the neck. He's going to get his hands on that down block. He sees blocker coming to him. Usually when you get a down block, something's coming to you. He is going to play right off his hip and midpoint this fullback. When I mean midpoint, he's going to play straight down the middle of him and try to stop whatever's coming behind him, right at his tracks or get underneath him, back to where the help is coming from. He's going to play, that's what we call a hard joint. He's not going to try to play around that block and bypass that fullback. He's going to midpoint that fullback and try to squeeze this football back in here where his help is. So, based off the keys that based off the reaction he's giving him, we're kind of giving him, we're teaching him what's going to come after him, come at him day after day, day after day. So if they can understand those three main things that their key is doing, it will always put them in a predicament to be in an advantageous position to make a play, whether it's run or pass. I'm going to try to get to their pass stuff, but this may take the majority of the time because I feel these reactions are very important. Now, on the backside, if his key's coming down, he has to understand he's, in this situation, a fold player, basically. He's going to shimmy. He sees ball away. He's not going to come down this hill line till he knows that ball is committed. He's kind of going to just feather, wait. He sees ball going away, then he'll attack. When he attacks through the hip of his key, he will be down the heel line. He will not come up and around. He will be down the hip line, down the heel line, making sure that ball is not coming back. So those are things that I absolutely mean when we're talking about hard joint, splatter, spill type players. They're never going to frame the ball up the field. We are going to be aggressive, attack through the V of the neck, and put ourselves in a better position by kind of reading what our keys are telling us. So therefore, we're always in on the play. Another reaction that Sam may see. He may see a base block with flow coming inside. He has to know he has to play through the head of this tight end and try to squeeze this gap back. We may not get there, but if the ball tries to bounce, the ball will have nowhere to enter. So he has to understand he has to play hard through the head of this tight end and try to squeeze these gaps off inside and try to make that ball bounce laterally. That's another common reaction. Now, the third one is going to be a reach and fast flow outside. Now, he's got to get his hands on him, run with the reach, still keeping outside arm free, trying to keep that ball on his inside half. He wants to keep the ball on his inside half. So as this edge starts to stretch, he wants to make sure that his football stays in here. Keep it outside arm free so we can force it back to the help. If not, get off, make a play. Shut the guy and make a play. So I gave you the down. I gave you a base out with inside flow. And I gave you a reach with fast flow. And based on those reactions are how he's going to play the rest of that play. He's going to read through his key to the football. He's going to have a hard focus on his key, which if he's the Sam will be the tight end. If he's the Will would be the tackle and the pro. Or if there's no tight end, both their keys become the hips of the tackle. Their keys, more of the time than not, will bring them to where the football is. They're going to play with a hard focus on their key, a soft focus on the football. Until the next time.